So I might begin with yourself, Declan. Your initial reaction here to the presidential election, the unprecedented number of spoiled ballots that we've seen, with the results still coming in. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, it's extremely heartening. It's great to see that the country has more than a pulse on this. That there's fight left out there, and that it's eager to stand up and literally be counted, as we have seen in the counting of these spoiled votes. And that is why we said it was so important to go out and cast a spoiled ballot, because they would have to count it. And here they are counting them. Of course, what we were standing up to was this curated selection that was presented to us on the presidential ballot paper, and once you curate and control who's allowed into the debate, then you control the debate. So we ended up with this Potemkin kind of fake debate, because there was no major ideological difference between the two candidates that were left standing. We had, and then the media has a sandbox within which it can operate. So you have RTE and other mainstream media that can run this, debate and presidential debate, and only have people on that represent this very limited view of Ireland and the different strands of Ireland, and it presents a false impression. And when you couple that with the very low turnout, that so many people just didn't vote because they did not get engaged in this process. It did not motivate them to go and cast a ballot. They sat it out. And then you consider the people that would have voted Gavin number one and then no transfers, which is also a protest vote. I mean, to claim that there is some kind of glorious popular mandate for Connolly is, I'm sorry, it's an intellectual stretch that I don't buy into. And then the protest came out, and it shows that there is a motivated, mobilized base of people who will go to the ballots here and will stand up against the wokery that represented by those two candidates.
And Senator Keogan, I might ask yourself if you feel like the Spoil the Vote campaign has been a success based on the results that we've seen. Do you feel like you've done your job as far as the campaign goes?
Um, uh, do I feel I've done my job? You have no idea how difficult it is for any voter in this country to decide to spoil their vote. You almost feel as if you're doing something wrong. And I believe a lot of people had to be really exercised to walk in to those polling stations yesterday to put a spoiled vote on their ballot paper. So the percentage there is a significant win for those people who do not believe that they had any choice of candidate in this election, that there was no voice for them on the paper, but also what is going on in this country. And I think Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have been the biggest losers here today. I want to congratulate Catherine Connolly. I had her picked out to win about 3 weeks ago. I thought she was going to romp home, and she has romped home. The left will see this as a major win for them, but really, yes, I knew she was going to win. I wouldn't say, I think it'll be the only win that the left will have in politics over the next 5 years. If they think this is going to be some sort of a unifying time in politics that's going to bring them into government in the next 5 to 10 years in this country, they're dreaming. I think it's time that the centre-right parties sit up, listen to the people. Listen to those people that stayed at home yesterday. Look at the amount of people that stayed at home that didn't come out even to vote yesterday. They weren't even exercised enough to get into a ballot, into a polling station yesterday to put whether it be a spoiled vote or to vote for Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil. They stayed away. They are disgusted. They're disgusted what's happening in this country, and rightly so.
Elaine, I might ask yourself, the Taoiseach was out talking about the results, Simon Harris, and he said that he thought it was regrettable that there were so few candidates on offer and that he didn't expect there to be such a limited field of candidates that people had to choose from, and he understands why people would be upset on that basis. I'm wondering if you have a response to the Taoiseach there.
Yeah, he's a hypocrite, is my first response. He is the one person who openly came out and published to say the whip system was to be 100% used in the county councils, probably for the first time in history. And they stopped any candidate coming through the county councils. Some had worked extremely hard, some were a little bit later than others, but all had put a huge effort in. So I believe all three candidates who had an opportunity, or at least showed up for the county councils, should have been given an opportunity. And there was a complete and utter, outright blanket on no candidate is getting through. So he needs to look at his own words, and he needs to have a good look in the mirror and talk to his party about this, because there's only so much the people of Ireland are going to put up with. There's only so much they're going to take before they'll say, look, enough is enough. You can't be talking out both sides of your mouth. 1 minute instructing your councillors how to vote or how to block. They weren't voting, they were blocking. And then to turn around now and say, oh, actually there should have been more candidates on that ballot. He should be ashamed of himself, and so should Fianna Fáil. Both parties did their best to stop a conservative, centre-right conservative candidate getting on the ballot. It worked. They didn't get them on, but I think now they're going to see that the people of Ireland are not going to tolerate that. We're not going to be bullied and told that you can pick any colour card that you want as long as it's black. We don't want to be told who we have to choose from. So yeah, I hope the term that I'm sure in the next week, Ben, we're going to hear the term "lessons will be learned." Another phrase that the Irish people are absolutely fed up of, because there's no lessons been learned here at all.
And sorry, I might just come back to Declan briefly on that same point, because Helen McEntee, who's obviously the deputy leader of Fine Gael, she was on the radio saying that basically her party did not block any candidates, and that the only reason there weren't more candidates on the ballot was they just failed to secure the support of county councils and Oireachtas members and other people, and that it's an open contest, and if you get the support you get on, and if you don't you don't, and it's not Fine Gael's fault or any other political party in particular. I'm wondering if you have a reaction to that, Declan.
It's complete and utter bullshit. As Elaine just said, I mean, this isn't a secret. And I would say this to the good minister. I mean, if she has a memory that can go back as far as, a month, or a little bit more than that, they pulled the shutters down on their county councillors by employing the whip. And it was the 6th.
6th of September.
6th of September. And then there was a lot of other things that went on. You had, for whatever reason, you had people like Sean Canny from Tuam, people like Noel Grealish from Galway West, allegedly, and Michael McDowell, although McDowell doesn't claim to be a conservative, even though he likes getting our votes. All of these people, especially Canny and Grealish, allegedly conservatives, certainly fishing in that pool at every election for votes, and they weren't even returning people's phone calls where people wanted to have a conversation with them about possibly getting a nomination. And why was that? Because they're in government, they're junior ministers or whatever it is that they are, and obviously they were afraid that there would be a consequence. This isn't democracy. This is a racket. This is a cartel. This is how a cartel operates. It shuts down any contest. So Mr. Harris needs to take, as Elaine said, a hard look in the mirror. And I know the good senator here, Senator Keogan, wants to have made an interesting point here to me in terms of what Simon Harris should do. And I just might, if you don't mind, Ben, I'd like to give Sharon a chance to just add something on that.
Sure.
Ben, I believe this is a resignation moment for Simon Harris. What he has done in relation to democracy in this country is nothing short of an autocratic dictatorship. He decided that no other candidate would be supported by county councils around the country. He wanted his Fine Gael people to stop to stop and to block any independent candidate from getting on the ballot paper. They control the councils along with Fianna Fáil. Fianna Fáil quietly stepped in behind them, but nevertheless, this is the moment where Simon Harris needs to be replaced. Fine Gael are going absolutely nowhere. He was like an albatross around the neck of Heather Humphreys during this campaign, and Fine Gael now know what they need to do, and I think his days are numbered within the party.
And then Ben, I one sort of other thing I'd like to say, because I'm speaking to you right now from Abbeynock-Moy, County Galway, heart of Galway East. Not traditionally, it's not Dunleary Rathdown. Let's put it that way. And here we are with the two great parties of this country since almost its foundation, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. All of us here, most people listening to this, having some family history with one or the other. Most people, not everybody. And certainly in my case, that is the case. And we have seen the leaderships and headquarters of both parties captured by the progressive left that have inverted these parties in terms of everything that they stood for socially and economically into two centre-left progressive parties of high tax, of wokery, on open borders, or you name it. They signed up for the whole lot, chasing this left-wing vote. And where has the left-wing vote left them today? Holding an empty bag and on their own, stranded from their own voters, their own electorate, the whole sweep of the country, as all the lefties vote for Connolly, and Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are left there empty-handed, having left all of us behind, looking over our shoulders, chasing lefty votes that will never, ever vote for them.
And
Can I just say one final? Sorry, you've another question, Ben.
no, yeah, apologies. I was just going to ask Elaine, what do you think of the kind of anti-establishment conservative movement, or the political right, whatever you want to call it, the people who spoiled their ballots, the people who issued a protest message to the political establishment this week? What do you think is the way forward for them in order to ensure that this doesn't become kind of a flash in the pan or a brief sort of saber rattling and then they go back to political irrelevance, I suppose? How does this become a sticking moment for them?
Well, I suppose firstly we'll have to let the dust settle for a day or two, and then we'll have to regroup. Come together. This has definitely started something. There's something, whether we like it or not, it has organically come out of the soil of Ireland, I'm going to say. So for me, it gives me a little bit of hope. I'm hoping that for the majority of the voters who showed up and spoilt their vote, that it gives them hope, because we're not a lone voice in the wind anymore. We're joining forces, we're coming together. This wasn't about a group of people who had an online presence. This was about the whole of Ireland who felt they weren't being represented at all in this presidential election, or possibly over the last couple of years at various points where we're just not being heard. So I genuinely hope that something can form. This is the start of something, I believe. What? I wouldn't like to say at the moment, but definitely something is going to grow out of it. I think, again, the government need to look at the fact that there was over 60% of the electorate who decided they were not going to show up at all. We don't know how many of them are disgruntled or could be considered conservative candidates or conservative voters. Predominantly a low turnout suits the government. However, they've failed abysmally on this particular election. They have not gone well at all out of their 39% who showed up. They've done extremely badly out of it. And to think that the spoil of vote is after taking it's looking like at least middle teenage figures at this point in time. So I would say, to the people of Ireland who took the time to get up, to go out and to vote, the future is bright.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, all three of you, for your time.